Hello, welcome to the NBISD Dual Language Parent Information Presentation for the school year of 2020-2021. This presentation is for parents of students who will be entering kindergarten in the upcoming school year, or you may have a student who is entering first grade. There is limited availability for first graders usually, and I don't know if we have seats available at this time. However, we do allow you to put in an application in the event a seat frees up, and we can talk more about that later. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to view this presentation and that you're interested in hearing about the New Braunfels ISD Dual Language Program. I'm a little biased that I think the program's great because I'm the director of the program. My name's Kim Brand, but I also believe in the program because I have a parent who is a native Spanish speaker. My grandparents were Spanish speakers, and so I just love the idea that students can learn language and learn another culture via a program that we offer here in New Braunfels ISD. During the presentation, if you have any questions, jot them down, and you can email me at kbrand@nbisd.org. It's right there. You can see it at the bottom of this page. Before we go on further, I have had a couple of phone calls before we had to take this break and work from home. Some of you are asking about age eligibility. Please be aware that in the state of Texas, your child is not eligible for public school kindergarten unless they are 5 years old by September 1st. So just note that your child must be 5 years old by September 1st in order to be enrolled in kindergarten. So this PowerPoint presentation is going to talk you through the program. I'm going to talk you through the eligibility requirements and the expectations. And then I put together a little FAQ for the frequently asked questions that I have gotten during the past 4 years of doing this presentation. So as you go along, as I said, you can write your questions down. And then if I don't answer your questions during the presentation, feel free to email me, and I'm more than happy to respond. So the New Braunfels ISD Dual Language Program is housed at 2 magnet campuses. The campuses are Carl Schurz Elementary and VOS Farms Elementary. If your child should or would attend Lamar Elementary, Seeley Elementary, Varamendi, or Carl Schurz, then Carl Schurz is the feeder pattern for your student. The principal of Carl Schurz Elementary is Dwayne Trujillo. If your child has a home campus of County Line, Klein Road, Memorial, or Walnut Springs, your child will be attending the VOS Farms Dual Language Program if they are accepted. So the 2 campuses are Carl Schurz and VOS Farms, and it's based off the home campus, meaning the campus your child would attend were they not in the dual language program. A quote by Nelson Mandela that I love says, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart." And I'm a firm believer that speaking to somebody in their own language gives you a greater depth of understanding of a culture and of a people and of people's hearts. So that's one of the things I love about the dual language program, is the opportunity for our kids to learn about different cultures. So let's jump into the nitty-gritty details about our program. We operate a dual language immersion 2-way program. What does that mean? Well, it means it's an additive bilingual program model for Spanish-speaking students. Back in the day, Spanish-speaking students were put together in one class, and they could either participate in a transitional bilingual class, or they could participate in a dual language one way. In those circumstances, The goal is to get the students to speak English and only use their Spanish language to build so that they can learn English more easily. Dual language one way, the Spanish speakers are to be taught English and Spanish to be bilingual. However, there are no English speakers in the class. It's strictly a class of only Spanish speakers. So those are the transitional and dual language one-way programs. The dual language two-way is considered an additive program because it adds in English speakers into the classroom so that kids are learning two languages via the support of their teacher and their peers. It's a world language immersion and enrichment program for English speakers, meaning that they're not legally required to know Spanish. However, by being in the dual language program, they're going to be learning Spanish while they're learning all the skills that they need to have in English to succeed in school. Both English and Spanish speakers are taught language and academic content in both languages. So those are the three most important components of a dual language immersion two-way program. We have some goals for our program, and the first goal is that we want to provide a rigorous academic program. And by rigorous, I mean we really do want kids to achieve at the highest levels possible in their L2 or their second language. That means we would love for our Spanish speakers to achieve at the highest levels in English, which is a state requirement anyway. And then we would really love for our English speakers to achieve at the highest levels in Spanish. That's only going to happen if all the participants and stakeholders agree that the program needs to be rigorous. The other goal of the program is to provide students an opportunity to become competent in listening, speaking, reading, and writing in both English and Spanish, and to also provide an environment where students and families develop positive cross-cultural attitudes. And that is probably the best part of the program, is just learning from one another and hearing about other children's experiences and cultural events and learning language from one another as well. So I believe those are our three goals of the program that we all need to work together to try to achieve those. So what are the benefits of a dual language program? Why should your child be in a dual language program? Well, first, the opportunity to learn a second language is exciting and valuable, and in a global world, and especially one that borders Mexico and Central America, it becomes more relevant. Another reason is the climate that it creates on a campus and in a community where people learn to appreciate each other's differences and recognize the value in those differences. And then bilingualism research shows that there are positive brain effects when you are learning a second language. A child's brain is more active, and those little dendrites in their head are communicating a lot more if they are learning two languages and surrounded by both languages. So those are the three program benefits of why maybe it's a good idea for your student to participate in this program. A little bit about our program design. Our program begins in kindergarten. So it's kindergarten through fifth grade, and then the beauty of New Braunfels ISD is that we provide our students with opportunities to participate in Spanish language instruction beginning in sixth grade. So they may take Spanish 1 dual language honors in sixth grade and take up to Spanish 3 through eighth grade. Not only is that 3 high school credits, but then they're set up to take AP Spanish 3. They're set up to take not AP Spanish 3, I'm sorry, Spanish language and then Spanish literature AP. That qualifies them, if they pass those AP tests, to place out of quite a few hours in university, therefore saving you money and giving them opportunities for other adventures. Or in the event that they feel satisfied at Spanish 3, their high school is open to them for any kinds of electives that they want to pursue or extracurriculars. So it really does just give your child a lot more choices if they participate in the dual language program. We do a 50-50 model, kindergarten through 5th grade. That means that content instruction is split equally between English and Spanish, 50% in English, 50% in Spanish. And also the class makeup is going to be 50% English speakers and 50% Spanish speakers. Those are requirements in Chapter 89 of the Texas Education Code. And we try to keep to that 50-50 match of students in each grade level. Of course, there is attrition. However, the 50-50 balance is really, really important. What's important to note about that is why there is a lottery for English speakers usually, because we can only have as many English speakers in the program as we have Spanish speakers in the program. So if we have 40 students that apply to be in the dual language program at Carl Schurz that are English speakers, those 40 English speakers can only all be in the program if we have 40 Spanish speakers. If we have only 30 Spanish speakers, then that means only 30 of those English-speaking applicants are going to be able to participate based on the seat availability. So I just want everyone to understand that's the law, and we are bound by it and we follow it, and the law is actually based in best practice that you don't want an overdominance of English speakers in your bilingual dual language program. Students are going to be taught grade level TEKS, and we're going to maintain those high standards for your student, but of course with support and making sure that their primary language is developing appropriately. We ask that you commit to the program from kindergarten through 5th grade. In order to participate in the dual language opportunities in middle school, you do have to be in the program all 5 years, 6 years from kinder to 5th grade, and you do have to end 5th grade being in the dual language program. We also want you to know that we make program decisions based on the needs and best practice research for English learners, but also we consider Spanish learners. It's just that if we look at our program and our Spanish speakers are not benefiting from the program, we might look at ways to improve the program. So how do you become eligible to be in the dual language program? Well, if you are an English learner and you are already identified as an English learner at pre-K, then you will receive a letter from the Language Proficiency Assessment Committee, and the parent will decide if their child is going to participate in dual language or not. The state recommends that all our bilingual Spanish speakers participate in the dual language program, but the parent does have the right to refuse. And so we are in the process of identifying how many kindergartners we're going to have next year that are Spanish speakers that will be participating in the dual language program. If you are the parent of a Spanish language learner, which most of you are, we call those opt-in students because you're opting to be in the program as opposed to our Spanish-speaking students. They are required. And so what we usually do is have a public meeting, but because of COVID-19, we're doing this online presentation. After you watch this presentation, on May 1st, applications will be made available online at the NBISD.org website, or once we reopen, you can pick one up at the NBISD Administration Center at 1000 North Walnut Street. These applications are going to be due to the Admin Center by May 14th, and you need to make sure they're completely filled out and signed. Please make sure you read every bullet point so that you understand what you're agreeing to, and you can either send those back to me via email, or you can mail them, or you can drop them off if we are up and running on after May the 4th. So eligibility standards for our Spanish-speaking students or our limited English proficient students, they are determined by the LPAC. Native English speakers, the eligibility is based on the seats that we have available, as I explained earlier, and you will be selected via a lottery system. Literally, it's envelopes in a basket, and Mr. Trujillo and Miss Carey draw the names out, and we just give every kid a number in order. Siblings are not automatically grandfathered into the program, and so you must apply with all other students wishing to participate in the program. That has been the policy of NBISD since I've been here for 5 years, and as far as I know, it's always been the policy. But I just want everybody to be clear that just because you have a child that gets in, a brother or a sister is not guaranteed a seat when it's their year to enter kindergarten. Also, while there's not a test to be administered into the program, we want you to make a good decision for your child. And so we know that one of the things that needs to be true is for your child to be an age-appropriate communicator in English. I have a nephew that was speech delayed, and he did not really speak until he was 3 years old. And he would not have been a good candidate in dual language because he was still mastering English. He was still getting frustrated trying to communicate in English. And it also impacted his ability to persevere. It affected his frustration levels. It affected his attention. So my sister would not have opted to put him in that program because he didn't have the characteristics that he might need to be successful in an academically rigorous program. We have some program expectations for staff, parents, and students that are pretty similar for everybody. But what I want you to know is that we have always had bilingually certified teachers sitting in our classrooms on the Spanish language side. And if we have an English counterpart that partners with that Spanish-speaking teacher, then they're ESL certified. We encourage our staff to invite you and ask you to come up to the school and volunteer in class and to help them with their classroom, with their bulletin boards, whatever help a teacher might need. They are encouraged to invite you to come up and participate and support your student and support the program. As parents, of course, we want you to support their linguistic, social, and academic development, and keep your finger on the pulse of how are they doing. And when you have your October conferences with the teacher, talking about anything that you notice that might be of a concern to you or things that you're not sure about that you need a little assurance from the teacher. So with that two-way communication, we just need you to support the students. Of course, we would love and expect you to participate in the campus and classroom activities, joining PTA, helping with the programs, all those kinds of things. We ask that you support and encourage practice of a second language at home. It is okay if you do not speak Spanish. I really think it would be fun for you to kind of start reading with your child starting in kindergarten, because you'll be surprised how much Spanish you could pick up just by reading with them for 30 minutes a day or working on their vocabulary work. But at a minimum, encourage them when they're frustrated and, maintain a positive attitude about the program, because as they become more and more proficient readers and writers in English, it's more frustrating that the Spanish does not come as easily. So we also would love for you to support and promote and advocate for the dual language program. For our students, we have some expectations, such as we want them to participate through the secondary level. We want them to maintain high learning levels in both languages. They must have high academic and high standards of conduct. It is very important that they follow the behavior code, the student code of conduct. Follow the student code of conduct, and also maintain a high level of attendance and punctuality. Those are key components to success for kids in the program. And finally, this was the process, but it's changed a little bit. Normally, you would have already registered at your home campus for kinder registration. As of right now, they are in the process of determining how kinder registration is going to work and the dates. So we're going to skip part 1 because I'm already giving you the presentation. Then you're going to fill out the application that's online, and when we know how many students are going to be participating, we will hold the lottery. So as soon as we know how many Spanish speakers have elected to participate in the dual language program, we will have our lottery. When you do register, when we finally do know the registration date, please keep your eyes on the website because that's where it's going to be. Register at your home campus. Even if you know that you're interested in applying for the dual language program, you're still going to register with your home campus, and then we'll take care of all the paperwork behind the scenes once we have the lottery. So first, keep your eye open for kinder registration information. Second, attend this parent information meeting online, reading this presentation, and then fill out your application. And then finally, late May, early June, we should let you know if your child's in the program or not. And we will do that by phone call. We will call you and let you know your child is student alternate 1, your child was one of the 20 accepted in that was selected in the lottery, like so on. So you'll know, we'll call you personally. So please make sure when you fill out your online application, if you handwrite it, that your phone numbers are legible, your first and last names are legible. So I created a little FAQ of commonly asked questions, and the first question that comes up the most often has to do with transportation. Dual language is an enrichment program, and as an enrichment program, we're not required to offer it, but we are offering it. We could choose to do dual language one way, but we offer the two-way because we feel like it's a benefit to all students in our community to have the opportunity to be in the program. But know that English learners are required to be in the program unless their parents deny. Therefore, the district is required to provide our English learners transportation. That being said, native English speakers are not required to be in the program. Therefore, parents are responsible for the transportation. So if you live in a feeder pattern attendance zone of VOS Farms and you see a English language learner getting on the bus, we are required to provide them transportation, and they're very strict federal funds and budget guidelines. So we are supposed to give them transportation. However, you have to provide your own child's transportation. That is just the way the rules work. So know that if you think it's going to be difficult for you to get your child to and from school, just be thinking of that because you are required to provide the transportation. Now, that being said, if you live in the Carl Schurz attendance zone and you would ride the bus normally to get to Carl Schurz, you still get to ride the bus. Or if you live in the VOS Farms attendance zone and your child would ride the bus to VOS Farms, whether or not they're in the dual program, they still are provided that transportation. But if you do not live in the regular bus attendance zone, you provide your own transportation. Another question often is, will my child have homework in the L2? And then comes some anxiety of that you're not going to be able to help them. But the truth is you are going to be able to help them. The teachers try to send work that they are able to do and that they've covered well in class. And in kindergarten, the books are fairly simple. Yo veo un gato, I see a cat. And so as you read with your child, you'll start learning Spanish. Even more importantly, in kinder and first grade especially, that reading in their first language and their primary language is going to be super, super important because the stronger a student is in their primary language, the more easily they develop a second language. Another common question is, what if I get frustrated, or what if my child gets frustrated? And I always let the teachers that attend these information meetings answer, but I'm going to answer for them today. The answer that they give is, it will happen. Your child will get frustrated, or you may get frustrated. But what we recommend is that you just continue to support and encourage by reading at home. Try to read in the L2 with your child. Struggle and show them that it's difficult for you too. Volunteer in the classroom. Communicate with the teacher. Do all the things that you need to show that you understand that the program's difficult, but that you believe in the program and that you believe in him or her and that they can do it. That's just like any bump in the road that you're going to have as a parent. Just work through it. How does this affect STAR testing results? So most of our dual language students take the test in English by 5th grade. There are some Spanish speakers that take it in Spanish in 3rd and 4th, but by and large, by 5th grade, most of our students are taking the test in English, and there are very high levels of masters. So in reading on the STAR test, you have an approaches, which is minimum standard. You have a meets, which is college and career readiness kind of standard. And then you have masters, which means that they are well on their way to being an advanced level reader. And I believe last year it was a total of 70 or 65, I think, between the two campuses. 65% of the 5th grade dual language students received masters in reading. And that's a testament to the teachers and to the parents and to the students, but also just the benefits of a program that has rigor. Another question we get is, what if my child is struggling in the L2? Well, you can expect to struggle because it's going to be difficult. And usually kids have ebbs and flows of when it's difficult or not. It's up to you to help them work through the frustration and try not to show your frustration yourself, and to communicate with the teacher. There are times when a child may not have been a good candidate for the program, and the decision is made by the school and the parents that the dual language program isn't the best placement. That is rarely happens. I do think parents make good choices when they originally put their children in the program as to whether or not it's going to be a good choice for them. And so we rarely have an English speaker counseled out of the program, or parents who feel they have to drop because it's too difficult. So I just say, continue to just think about those brain benefits, also the benefits to their secondary schedule and high school options for courses, and stay the course and work with the school. Communicate with the teacher. A teacher can't help if she doesn't know what's going on. Finally, we'll go over the specific details of how do I know my child is a good candidate for the program. You don't know for sure, but there are common traits of students who are successful in this kind of program. The first thing, and the one that we've already talked about, is that they're an age-appropriate communicator. Another strong indicator is that they have an interest in books and reading. So they're very interested, not that they can read, but they're interested in it. When you read to them at night, they sit still and listen. They ask you questions when you're reading out loud to them. They know how to hold a book. They're interested in literacy. Another important quality is that they're able to follow routines and attend to difficult tasks. This becomes especially important because when kids are younger and they're frustrated and they already have a low tolerance level for structure and routine, they can act out or lash out, and it doesn't help the school community, and it certainly doesn't help their social emotional well-being. So just be sure that you think that they're able to follow routines and attend to difficult tasks. Finally, the most important is the strong parent support of the program as it becomes more difficult. We have great support from our parents. Our existing families are understanding that the program has changed several years ago, and teachers adjusted to the change, and we're continuing to work and improve and do as much as we can to make the program the best that it can be. But there are times when kids are struggling or having to work harder than their friends, or they have an 85 on their report card in lectura, which is reading, or escritura, which is writing. I just cannot emphasize enough that when you're thinking about the benefits of what this program offers after elementary school, the options that it gives them for high school and beyond, that a B on the report card in a second language is okay. It's not like they're not going to make an A, but if they do make a B, you as a parent need to know that that can happen and has happened to students. And it shouldn't be a reason to drop out of the program. You can speak to the teacher, but just be okay and support your child. Especially, a lot of kids in the program have the same characteristic of their high achieving and they're perfectionists. And so if they see that they've disappointed you with a grade on their report card, I think it makes it harder for them to want to continue to participate in the Spanish. So I just can't encourage you enough to just have strong support of the program. When it becomes difficult, be prepared for that. Have tools in your toolkit of how to encourage, how to speak to the teacher, and those things. So those are the main things for deciding if your child is a good candidate or not. We think all children have potential, and we don't want to rule any student out. We just want to make sure that we've set them up for success and set you up for success. So I appreciate your attention and time. I'm so grateful that you guys are interested. Mr. Trujillo and Miss Carey generally attend the parent information meetings, and they're not able to attend. But we all are here to answer questions and to support you if you have questions. We are really hopeful that we will know by the end of May who the Spanish speakers will be that are going to be in the dual language program, and that we're able to have the lottery sooner rather than later. But we'll keep you posted. That's why that email address being legible on the online application, or if you print it out and handwrite it, it's just really important that everything's legible. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for your time.